Hi, my name is Rohan Shravan. I'm the founding CEO of Tresa Motors. And currently at Tresa Motors, we are building electric trucks.
Let's start with Notion. How old were you when you started Notion?
Uh, 2009, so I would be 24 years old.
And
23
what were you
actually.
doing? Okay. What were you doing at that time?
So I just graduated from IIT Kharagpur, and then in Kharagpur itself, I wanted to make something interesting, and tablets were the future according to me at that time. And I started writing to Nvidia, and they said that uh, the main discussion is in the US, and that's where they are based out of. And maybe if you can come over or have a discussion with someone here, then possibly you can take it forward. So I joined this company called Schlumberger for 3 months, and they had posted me in India,
German
but my trade.
oil, I think oil processing or something
Yes,
like that. Hmm.
yes, they're into oil rigs and drilling of oil. And I was sent to Oklahoma for training, and that was a time that when I could reach out to those people. Decided to leave, come back to India, and but the reference platform which we were to get from Nvidia was around a year, maybe 6 to 9 months after our discussion. So I had some time. I came back to India, decided to
What what
become a monk.
what did you need from Nvidia? Sorry, I didn't get
Yes.
that.
So if we go back to 2008, the computers were built on a concept called left bridge and right bridge. They were different memory architectures, and NVIDIA had come out with a processor called NVIDIA Tegra. And Tegra was the world's first SoC which integrated these left bridge and right bridge. Today it's common. So when you, for example, pick a Qualcomm processor, it has a 4G, 5G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, everything integrated, including the RAM also, which is sitting on top of it. But early days, the GPU was different, the memory was different, the RAM was different, and even today it's different. But the physical locations were way off. Everything was not integrated into one single chip. But Nvidia had made that, and I thought that's the right technology to build something like a tablet. iPad wasn't there at that time, and that's where it all started. That maybe this device can actually become the future of computing.
Okay, interesting. So you came back to India and you became a monk. What do you mean you became a
Yeah,
monk?
so I have a very deep interest in the Vedas and scriptures, not from a religious point of view, but just from curiosity point of view, like what is written and different things. For example, if you see, they talk about astrology and all, right? It takes thousands of years for Jupiter or Saturn to make a turn around the sun. So how do you wait for that long and figure out what's the turn and all? So I thought, like, okay, let's spend some time in learning Vedas, and I thought that maybe Buddhist scriptures might have saved something like that. So I came back to India, told my mom that for 6 7 months I'm going to be a monk. Left Delhi and went to Ladakh, and there's something interesting happened. I would have traveled around 6 7 different monasteries, and my driver was also getting frustrated because every monastery I'll go to, the head monk there, sitting in his room in an office where he has a laptop, he's playing snakes on his Nokia, uh, the best of the printers, and he's telling me you've come in a wrong season. Becoming a monk is actually a business. If you come in July, this was March, April I'm talking about. If you come in July, then probably we can enroll you in some visitor package. Or I said, no, no, I really want to become a monk. I want to understand what is happening. No, no, that's not how it works. So my driver got frustrated, and finally he asked me, like, why are you doing what you're doing? I told him that I'm here to look for some sort of insight, some sort of inspiration which can guide the rest of my life. And what he said actually became the, you can say, the trajectory of my life. What he said is, what you're looking for is deep inside you. Go back and search for it. So it's like, so that moment for me was like the Sarthi and Arjun kind of
Wow,
moment
wow,
where,
amazing, amazing. Okay. So did you
so
go back
then
or you stayed in Ladakh?
yeah, no, then I came back to Delhi and then decided to come to Bangalore. So at that time I was looking for someone who can help me design the product. I'm talking about the industrial design, and NID was one of the best institutes there. Call NID Ahmedabad. They said, no, that's not what we do here. Maybe possibly can go to NID Bangalore, where where the master students are there. So I called NID. I spoke to Dean, and he said, just come over. So I come to Bangalore for 3 days, but after I've not left back.
Wow, amazing, amazing. And were there tablets out in the market at that time as a form factor?
No, no.
No, none.
There
No.
were no, there were few concepts, but they were again based on the Intel concepts where you have again the same memory architecture. But a tablet as such was not there. The concept itself was not there. In fact, we built the first Android tablet operating system was built by Notion Inc.
Wow. Okay. Maybe there would have been some Windows devices where the laptop form factor would have been changed into a tablet kind of a
Yeah,
thing.
so that's what I'm saying. So that now again is on Intel, which would mean that you have the left bridge and right bridge as a concept. The touch screens were still resistive. We had few patents on the capacitive touch screens also.
Okay, so
The batteries were also thick and big,
okay, okay. So those would have been big, bulky tablets, not
big bulky
responsive
tablets. No,
to touch. What is the difference between
yes.
capacitive and resistive touch?
Can you come back?
What is the difference between capacitive and resistive touch?
Oh, you remember old ATMs where you had to go and press multiple times 10 years
Yeah,
ago?
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it's still
those were
there with a lot of ATMs. Yeah.
yes. So those are resistive screens where it works with the pressure, whereas in
Okay.
capacitive it works with the conductivity of your skin. So they are much more smoother. Capacitive also have multi-touch and hence 5 touch, 10 touch, and all the tech we have
Hmm.
today, and the stylus
Okay.
as well.
Okay. Okay. Understood. Okay. Right. Okay. Got it. So, okay, so you found someone at NID then once you landed in
Yeah, so
Bangalore?
I came back and then started working at NID Bangalore. The team initially was very helpful, but the problem was that the NVIDIA contact had passed on to India, and they were asking like, who's helping you do this? Because I was naive, so I didn't know what it takes to do it. But NVIDIA knew, and they knew that you would need a lot of money and resources and people and know how to do this. So I would tell them I'm 28 years old because I was too young, according to them, to do something like this. And then there was a chicken and egg issue. NVIDIA wouldn't work with me because I don't have a backup, and NID wouldn't work with me because I didn't have a backup. So there was a chicken and egg. And what I realized is this: the only solution of coming out of chicken egg is to lie for one day. So I told NID that NVIDIA is backing me up, and I told NVIDIA that NID is backing me up. And within a day, it was a lie, but next day it became a truth. So I got a backing
Wow.
from
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Okay.
so I got a backing from NID to work on the design, and NVIDIA said that okay, we are happy to work with you, but we don't provide reference design directly. Possibly you can get it from Foxconn or Compal or Quanta. These are the largest OEMs in the world, largest uh, manufacturers of computing devices in the world. So there was a
But
block again.
no, but why do you need a reference design? You're saying there is no tablet in the market. So what? Where is the question of
So
reference design coming from?
yeah, so when a processor company makes a processor, they just don't give you the processor. They give you a reference architecture of how this can be actually leveraged. Because there's something called a board support package, which essentially has all the drivers for different components that I might end up using. My camera might be Sony, it can be some other companies also, maybe Omnivision. So if I have to do that, then I have to have drivers for that. So an architecture from Qualcomm or NVIDIA will support these hardwares and give you a board support package using which you can make an operating system, deciding what components you have to make. But a reference design is also given because if you don't give a reference design, then it's literally like read the whole spec sheet and data sheet and then make something out. So every processor comes out with a reference design. You need a reference design to start.
And a reference design is a design of the board and where to connect what? Is
The
it like an
reference design,
IKEA? I
yes,
mean, I'm thinking of
yes.
IKEA here. Is it something like that? That this is where you plug
So
in the camera and like.
sort of. So it's something like that. It has debug pins. It has a lot of you can say interfaces to interact with the processor and try and understand what might be going wrong. But the reference design was not for a tablet. Reference design was for a notebook. They were trying to do something like Google Chrome in 2009. So the reference design, what I ended up getting, was also not for tablet. It was for you can say a Chromebook or something similar.
Okay, okay. I think there was a they used to be called netbooks or something like that at
Netbooks,
that
yeah,
time.
they were
Yeah,
netbooks
yeah,
at that time.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah, 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 yeah.
netbooks.
Hmm. Okay, got it. And so you, I mean, your original vision was to create a device, or was it to create a tablet?
No, my vision since beginning and even today, what I'm also working on is on the same lines that machines. The definition of machine is something which makes our life easy. Today, the machines we have, we are reliant on them. If we take the machines out of our life, we are just like dead people with a bored life. So my vision since beginning has been to make technologies or products which actually take away all of that load and actually do the stuff that we are doing. Humans are designed to explore, to discover, to invent, and to enjoy what is there in the whole universe, right? Be happy, have humility, have humanity. But now all of us are stuck in the cycle of eat, sleep, drink, wake up, work, and that sort of takes away the. We are supposed to be the alpha of the whole civilization, but if you've seen this movie called Matrix, in Matrix, Agent Smith's. I don't remember exact words, but the dialogue goes something like this: "Human species is like a virus. We go everywhere, we destroy that area, and then we move on to next stage." And that essentially happens because we have to spend so much time in making these machines and use all the resources. But if we can do it properly and focus on just being human, then there's a lot better. So a lot better can be done. So that's the dream since beginning. So I wanted to make a device which actually replaces the laptops and tablets and all such, which is integrated with AI, can do a lot of stuff, and all the features which we were trying at that time was also something similar. This is something which YouTube has started doing now, but we had a turbo feature in 2010, where when you are moving, let's say, from location A to B, let's say in a flight, you press that button, it's going to download YouTube videos, and at that time, less of videos, but most of the browsers or websites that you visit keep a backup copy, so you can actually read on the flight. So all the features that we were thinking of were on those lines. It was one of the world's first tablet to have a Zigbee also inbuilt. We couldn't
What's a
scale up.
Zigbee?
Or Zigbee used to be very high performance Bluetooth and Wi-Fi like communication network where we can control IoT devices. It had a
Okay.
DAC or a sort of
Digital
oscilloscope
audio.
system,
Uh,
sort of oscilloscope system built inside, because it has everything to compute all the electronics, take all the electronic signals and work with all the Fouriers that we need to work on them. So the idea was that why can't we use a tablet like an oscilloscope, so allow an engineer to do more.
what does an oscilloscope do? Like it
So
tells you the
oscilloscopes.
orientation, northwest, east,
No, no,
south.
no, no. That's a accelerometer. Oscilloscope would be those machines which you might have seen in labs, electronic labs, where you see those signals going up and down. So when you, let's say, working on a motherboard or a processor, you can touch the pins and it will tell you the frequency at which you're getting the signal out. So you can do frequency analysis and so the creative stuff which engineers do.
Okay, okay, okay. So essentially, you wanted to make something like what an iPad today is. That's what you wanted to build.
Yeah,
Like maybe you were like 10 years too early in your ambition.
probably iPad with some of the other accessories that we have attached it to make it more usable. iPad definitely is a really great product with the evolution it has gone through, but still can't be used as many other things that we can actually use it for.
Okay, so you needed reference designs, and you just continue the story from there. So you
Yes,
got reference
yes.
designs
So
for a netbook.
no, so Nvidia said I can't give you reference design. You can take it from Foxconn, Compal, and Quanta. Now I have never spoken to them. They're based out of Taiwan at that time, so we had to figure out what to do. And one of my friend just jokingly said, "Why don't we just go there?" So I took a flight next week and just went to Taiwan and uninvited, trying to figure out how do I contact. So I sat in the cafe, which is in front of Foxconn's main office. One of the engineers came out. I saw him coming out multiple times, approached him and
Wow.
spoke to him.
Yeah.
And then, interestingly, within half an hour, he went back and actually got me the netbook that they were working on. So it was still not a reference design. It was a netbook which Foxconn was working on. And
Mm.
he said something interesting. I'm giving you this. You have to install a PSP on top of it, and once you install the PSP, you can do whatever you want. What I want you to work on is one of the applications that I'll share with you. If you can design that application, then I think we both are equal. We both are done in our transaction, and we'll definitely help you build more. So I took that board, came back to India.
What's a PSP? You'll have to
Yeah,
like
coming
demystify
to that.
these.
Yeah, coming to that. So came back to India and then told my engineers happily that okay, all we have to do is install this PSP, and then we're done. We looked online. PSP seems like a gaming console, or some acronym of some companies or some weird things, but nothing concrete came out. And we were too ashamed to, in fact, call them back and ask, "What is this PSP?" We probably
Okay.
would have spent a month to figure out what exactly has to happen. And then finally, I called him and told him, "I don't understand what is this PSP. I'm not able to get." He said, "It's not PSP. It's BSP, which is the board support package I was talking about."
Okay. Okay.
So finally, when we learned, oh, it's a BSP port support package, then we got some files from NVIDIA and some open source kernels from Linux, and then we were ready to go. Now, I'm talking about early December of 2009. We plan to make a device within the next 3 weeks. What I have is a motherboard for a netbook, which is big and ugly and huge. The reason we want to finish in 15 days is because the CES 2010 was around the corner. It was, I think, 6th of January,
And CES
2010,
is Consumer Electronics Show in I think Las
Las
Vegas.
Vegas.
Is
Las
the
Vegas, yeah.
biggest.
The
So just like
consumer
in India,
electronics
we
show.
have the Auto Expo for cars. It's like the
Yes,
similar
yes.
biggest show for consumer electronics in the world. Yeah,
Correct,
got it.
correct.
Mm.
Correct. So 15 days we have to figure out. We immediately got into action. We made the whole device, whole packaging, everything. The glass is not there. The batteries are not there. We ended up using some of the laptop batteries. Our design was very unique. If you remember, we had a circular shape at the end. So design in such a way so the batteries are held in your hand. That's the heaviest component. So you actually feel device is very light because the center of gravity is actually very close to your hand.
Hmm.
So we got that done, but the display was a problem. So I flew from Bangalore to Taiwan, got the display done on 5th of January. On 4th of January, I took a flight from there and went to Vegas on 5th. Again, not invited anywhere, but NVIDIA was
And
hosting the tech.
uh, you were intending to manufacture this in house, or you were just making a prototype and then it would be outsourced to a Foxconn to manufacture? Like,
Yeah, the plan. So India at that time never had any capability to manufacture of this quality, and but the plan was to make in India. But the more I realized is that we don't even have machines which can do SMT for the 16-layer PCBs in the country at that time. So that got clarified as we move forward that we definitely need a partner to manufacture this. But a design and whole assembly happened as much as possible here, including the software part.
okay.
So from there, flew to Las Vegas. It's 5th of January evening, and NVIDIA is hosting an event tomorrow, 6th of January, on launch of the NVIDIA Tegra 1. It was only announced, but the physical launch hasn't happened. And fifth evening,
And
Jensen,
Tegra
CEO,
One is that system on chip which you're talking about,
system on chip.
integrated.
Yes,
Okay. Hmm.
yes. So Jensen, NVIDIA CEO, he's practicing what to say next day. And we were not the only tablet in that room. We had tablets from Foxconn, from Compal, from Conta, and probably 11 more reference designs, including from NVIDIA as well. But the only tablet which was working was in my hand.
And tablet or netbook? Like you're saying netbook
Tablet,
essentially.
tablet.
Tablet. Oh, you made a tablet. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we had
Got it.
made, yeah,
Yeah.
we had used that reference design for netbook, converted that into a tablet. And
Got
when we
it.
went to when I went to that show on fifth evening, he had 10 devices on his table, but none of them were working. Everyone
Wow.
was a perky, or the touchpad is not working, or the battery is not, or the device is not booting up. But the only device which is working is in my hand. So
And
he ended
what
up.
was the OS you used? Like
We use
you built it
Android.
on?
Yeah, we
Okay.
use our own custom Android.
Okay. Okay.
So
Hmm.
he ended up taking our device on the stage and showed to the world that this is the future of computing. And this is built by a company called Notion Inc. based out of Bangalore.
Wow. Amazing. What an introduction. Amazing. Okay. Hmm.
And the moment that happened, everyone, TechCrunch to Crunch Care, or everyone was behind us. In fact, then NVIDIA decided to give me their own booth to talk about NVIDIA and the tablet. And I was in the NVIDIA booth in Vegas talking to different people. We had built one digital magazine concept. This is the future of digital magazine. And I was explaining to one gentleman who had these spikes, very long spikes, that the future of magazine is going to look like this. This is what we've done for popular science, for example. You will have different pages and animations. And then when he was leaving, he gave me his card. He was the editor of popular science.
Wow.
uh,
Amazing. Okay. Hmm.
so a lot of interesting stuff from that point. And uh, so that was the highest for us. We built a really good, solid base of people who love Notion Inc. The design was also open. We shared with people what we're doing, what we finished this week. Every Saturday, I used to write a blog. If I get late by an hour, we'll have comments on the blog. Where's the blog? I just want to understand what the process is.
Wow.
But moment I came
And
back to India, yeah,
this was like you were essentially doing what is today called as building in public.
building in public, yes,
Okay, so you would tell people that okay, we are now reaching prototype stage, we are now reaching manufacturing stage, and so
yes,
on. Like just to
yes,
keep them engaged until you are actually
yes,
able to have the
yes.
inventory to sell.
Yes. So not only
Hmm.
that, it's like to get the idea also. Now, for
Okay.
example, one of the person gave an idea that our speaker grills must be in a particular shape, and we incorporated that. Now, for example, if that idea was given by you, suddenly you will have an ownership of the product that I'm making. So the
Mm,
affection you'll have for the
right.
brand and the product is very different because you're being heard from the day of zero.
Right.
This
Right.
is
Right.
this is the
Right.
pre-Kickstarter era. Kickstarter
Right.
was not there at that time, or was just coming up. So we did that, and everyone's excited. Our team is excited, and till that time, by the way, I've not raised the money. What I realized in my early stages that you don't need money. You need money to do something. So if you want to do something, and if you can get that done, then you actually don't need money. So you had not raised money at that time. What I'd done was I pitched two universities. One was JNTU, and the other was BVRIT in Hyderabad. and I told them that I will get my best friends from my college. They're working in Google, Oracle, and such companies. We are going to teach your students. You need to give me a lab where I can teach them. They're not going to go to your university. They'll not attend your classes. They'll attend the lectures which my friends and I'm going to give them, and they're just going to come back and give exam. And BVRIT gave us 1 acre of campus, which was designed for Microsoft. But because of Telangana
Wow.
fights at that time, Microsoft couldn't come in. So given
Okay.
1 acre of posh facility with the highest end computers and internet connection, where these 35 kids came, learned, and actually designed the operating system and the software we were writing at that time.
Okay. Amazing. Amazing. So essentially, these were like interns who built your interns whom you were also responsible for educating the academics
Yes,
part, who
yes,
built up the software stack for Notion. Okay.
correct,
A-
correct.
and on the design and manufacturing side, what did you do there?
Yeah, so I've been designing since 2006. In fact, since 2006, I've been using Blender. Blender is one of my favorite softwares, 3D animation and design software. So the whole thing that we did was designed in Blender, and we had help from NID also. There's a designer called Makran Kulkarni. He had designed the first Pep Scooty, and he was instrumental in designing what we did. And in fact, most of the design actually go to him. I was only telling that, can we do this, can we do that, but the design was phenomenal on what he did. And then finally we had the prototypes also ready to be able to show it to the world.
And how did you do this without money? I mean, you're like a fresh IIT graduate, and
Yeah.
you hadn't worked, so there would have been no savings. Did your family
So
support you, or
no, so no, so yeah, so the family support was in a form that go ahead and do what you want to do. So I come from a middle class family, and uh, with strong ethics and desire to do something interesting always. But my family had already done a lot for me to get to that stage where now it's on me. So I never asked for it. I'm sure if I'd asked for it, they would have done something. So for the software development, whole development, we don't need any money because the lab is already given, and these students are not being paid at that time. Uh, and for the dean of the college himself invested a small amount of 25 lakh into the company, and that 25 lakh allowed me to go to Taiwan. And I also got some savings from my Schlumberger, 3 4 months. They pay really well, so I got that money also to invest back and get the things up and rolling.
amazing, amazing? Okay, okay. So you did the design, and for manufacturing, like you would have had to pay them upfront. How did you
Yes.
fund that?
Yeah, so all of this is within this 25 lakh plus whatever money
Okay,
I had invested at that time.
okay.
So we were very frugal in the way we want to do things. So we're not talking about entering tooling yet. We are just talking about a prototype. Now,
What do you mean by tooling?
okay, so when you make, you've heard of injection molding.
Yeah.
So you mold, you inject, let's say, liquid plastic into something, and the thing you inject in is called molding. So you need to take a big steel slab, CNC out the negative of what you want to make, and then pour metal. In case of Tesla, for example, in Gigafactory, or plastic for injection molding. So tooling is very expensive. That's one of the most expensive part of any manufacturing. So we didn't have money at that time. So now we had proven to the world this can be done. We have a lot of media attention and people following us. So now was the time to raise funds. And that was the time I started reaching out to the VCs.
Okay. Indian VCs?
At that time, Indian
They,
VCs, yes.
but they would have been just like a handful of Indian VCs at that time, right?
Oh, no,
2010.
no, Sequel was there, IDG was there, Venture East
Okay.
was there. In fact, I would have approached 90 plus VCs. All of them said no.
Wow. Okay. Despite
The
all the
question,
media attention and
despite all the
everything.
media attention. Yeah.
Okay.
So the comments would be like, "You look too young to be able to do this. How can you do this? If you do this, how you sell, etc., etc." It's never been done. Hardware startups you can still see, like not a lot of VCs invest in hardware startup.
True, 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 true. Yeah, yeah. The formula is to invest in software which can scale
Yes,
infinitely. Got it.
yes.
Okay.
So then what happened is, like, while this is happening, and in the early stages, the one of the VC was very positive on investing, and I was in very good contact. They are probably the best VC in the country. Also, I was talking to them that what exactly should we do. This suggestion came in, and at that time we were very close to finalizing. Then, because it's going to go public, I'm not going to take names. One of the largest businesses in the country approached the CTO of the company directly, called me and said that. we want to invest, and come and meet me. And this was in Bombay. And then from Bangalore, Hyderabad at that time, I flew to Bombay. And the meeting was at 10 p.m. at night. And before entering in, me and my partner, we were waiting outside the hotel. They went, so their team went inside a hotel, made everyone just come out. So it's like proper movie scene. There are 10 black cars coming in, and finally inside there is set. Inside there's set up, there's a projector on which the projection is happening, that what the company does and how big the company is. And then I enter inside, and the pitch was very simple from their side: write a number which you want, we'll invest that money, but we need 51% of your company. The pitch was very simple from their end.
Okay.
And
Okay.
from our side was like, okay, what's happening, we don't know. And then I asked this VC also that, what do you think I should do? And hearing the name, they said, like, see, they have the kind of resources they have is, you should just go ahead. This will definitely help you a lot, because we will invest, but our investment is also not going to be comparable to the quantum they can invest and take you up. So this is me at 24 years old. I agreed, and we signed an MOU. The MOU
Okay.
did not have a end date. The MOU said that I cannot raise funds outside. And then 6 months of nightmare started for us. 6 months went
What was
in.
the money that you were promised for 51%
This is
that you
32
asked?
crore. Yeah, 32 crore.
Okay.
And 3 plus 2 is 5. 32 crore and 4 rupees.
Oh, okay. 4 rupees. What
Yeah.
was the? Okay, interesting. Huh.
Yeah, I used to love the number 9. So the sum has to be 9. So that's why it's 3
Ah,
plus 2 plus
got
3. Yeah,
it.
32 crore, 3, 4 rupees. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Hmm.
but the MOU did not have a end date. We had 51% ownership on the product, technology, and the future. They had 51% ownership on the equity. That's the kind of deal which was supposed to be there. But nothing happened for next 6 months. Next 6 months was me spending time in taking them to Taiwan, introducing Quanta, Compal, Foxconn, all the connections. This is essentially the learning how to make a product. And slowly, me and my team got some idea of what exactly is happening. And at the same time, we are talking to people, and people expect a product to come out on time. Right now, suddenly there's a 6 to 9 months of delay, which is unaccounted for in anyone's imagination, including mine. So now, when I'm going back and seeing the products getting delayed, that's where slight desperation starts coming in. That is it a vaporware? Are you even going to make it? And finally, we approached few other lawyers to understand what can we do because of the this MOU. And they said that an email is a legal entity. So if you send an email saying that, okay, you are taking long, we like to explore outside, are you okay? And if they reply to that as okay, that's a legal document which you can use to say that, okay, you had agreed, and there's a written proof of that. So we did exactly that, came out immediately. And at that time, I got one of my a connection to invest a couple of crores in the company that allow us to move to Bangalore and set up the office and start. But I don't have money for the running capital, actually entering manufacturing and doing all what we're looking for.
Because
That's
the
when,
injection mold would need a lot of
yeah,
upfront
yeah,
investment.
yeah. So when you make a product, you have to invest in something called tooling, as I explained, the injection mold parts. And second is called NRE. NRE is non-recurring expenditure. So that's the cost of development to the let's say Foxconn or someone else who can make it for you. So I thought, okay, let's talk to Foxconn, at least try and understand how much they're going to charge. Foxconn gave us a quote of, I think, around 4 million at that time, and we had in lakhs of money in the bank account. So we knew that, okay, Foxconn we can't work with. Then there was one company also based out of Taiwan and China both. Foxconn were also moving to China at that time, which gave a quote which was acceptable to us. We figured that we can do something, and they were also very keen on doing something like this. And so we worked with them, designed the product, and gave initial money to them. But we are running out of capital very fast, and we had to figure out a way of injection. And now iPad is already launched by then. So we're talking about September. We're talking about August of 2010. iPad was launched in March of 2010, and
And
iPad
was
is
there
also,
any Android tablet out by then?
no, not yet, no.
Okay. Hmm.
No. So so we're already late. Now when we go back to the same VC who asked us, yes, you can work with them, said no, iPad is already out. Now how will you compete? How will you make? So we knew that VC is not going to work out. So we did something called pre-order. We allowed people to buy the product before we ship. And because the positivity and the overall momentum of the product was high, we were sold out within seconds every time we went out for the first 4 times. So
Wow.
we went out,
And this
and
was a Indian audience which was buying, or
no, we did not sell in India at all in the first two iterations.
okay,
So now problem is that how do we take money? There was no international payment gateway in 2010. The only way you
right?
can take
Because
money
your
is
bank
Swift.
account is in India. Ah, Okay.
Exactly. The only way you can take money is Swift, and Swift is slow. So we built India's first international payment gateway with CC Avenue and ICICI.
Wow.
So
Wow.
a lot of things that we should not have done. For example, this itself is a business, and we did the whole thing, worked the whole architecture out, and went online. Now, the moment we went online, there are some mistakes from our side also. At that time, when I'm asking you to fill the address, and instead of phone number, you write, let's say, my name, the form will still accept it. It's definitely a stupid mistake, but these mistakes happen, and we should have tested much better. But again, this is me coming from doing it for the first time. I take the blame, even though I can blame it to my software engineer also. That happened, and then what happened is ICICI had a limit of how much foreign capital can come in seconds. We sold around 1,000 units each at $650 in 4 seconds. So
Wow.
we were blocked by ICICI, and on the website it was said there is some unauthorized activity going on. We are
Uh,
sorry. Now TechCrunch picked it up, and they just blasted the hell out of notioning online. They just said this has everything for a scam to be in making, and the payment page has mistakes. You can write your name instead of phone numbers, etc., etc., and it was a big nightmare. Then we went back to ICICI, explained what's happening. They opened it up, but damage was already done. And now I'm talking about December 2010. Now TechCrunch challenged me that if you come to Las Vegas CES 2011 and show us the product, and if we think the product is real, then I'll eat my own hat. So one of the very interesting journalists just openly
wow.
challenged us.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
so I went to Vegas. I took the device. I showed it to him, and he did the live coverage of the whole video. And he loved the device. And he saw the animations that were there, the overall screens. We had this uh, when you press Windows, sorry, the Options key or the Command tab on your Mac, you get this, or your iPhone, you get this animation, right, of multiple screens. That's something that we had built in Android in 2010. We had multi Windows system already in 2010. We had three applications that you can open at the same time. So you saw all of that,
You
and
you heavily customized Android for
we
the
heavily
tablet
customize.
experience
In
because
fact,
Android didn't have a tablet experience in the early years.
no, no. So what we did interestingly was Mentor Graphics is really good in automotive. Most of the displays at that time were done by animation, were done by Mentor Graphics. So we worked with Mentor Graphics to take the automotive solution, put it on tablet, so we can do those animations.
Wow.
So the
Yeah.
whole user interface was done on Mentor Graphics.
Okay.
The,
What does graphics for automotive in what sense?
so
Like.
when you see a dashboard, for example, when you see in BMW, you see those icons and menus, all that, right?
Okay.
The
Okay.
UI in
Hmm.
automotive. So in automotive, you don't have an operating
Like.
system essentially, right? It's
Hmm.
everything is embedded and can have different variants. So there's a OpenGL or a graphic layer which sits on top of the OS, and that layer takes care of all the animations that you can design. So I'm talking
Okay.
about 2010. If you sit in an Audi in 2010, you will still have beautiful animation which immediately boots up. So
So
it took
like
that.
a luxury cars had like a touch screen
Exactly.
at
Yeah,
that
yeah,
time also. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So we picked that, and then we built that into our tablet and made the whole UI and animation, showed it to our TechCrunch, but by that time damage was already done. But even after that, the next few times when we went online for our sales, we were sold out. But now the problem is our tablet had few components which were never used. One of the component was called a Pixel Chi display.
What display? Sorry.
It's called Pixel Chi,
Okay.
Pixelqi, but the pronunciation is Chi.
Hmm.
Now, Pixel Chi is coming from background of OLPD, one laptop per child. OLPC, yeah, one laptop per child. So there, this company or their promoters had invented a screen where in sunlight you can read the display. So essentially, your display turns into black and white, just like a Kindle. When you go inside,
Okay.
let's say in a
Hmm.
slightly dark room, like the room you are sitting in right now, it will become a color screen. But the moment you go out in sun, it's going to become a black and white display. So we're using that display because we felt tablets are supposed to be used everywhere, outside, inside, in on factory, and uh, then when we hit production, this company comes back to us and tells us that we can't give you more than 800 displays a month, and we had already sold 4,000 units.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
And
This is
the
because
reason
of Pixel Chi, the
Pixel
reason for
Chi.
the
Yeah,
constraint.
I think
Okay.
this is the first time this is coming out ever. I've never blamed them for anything. So I mean, not even today blaming them. It is my responsibility to ask how much you can manufacture before selling those many. But it was a shock to me because 4,000 is a very small number for LCDs.
Who is putting the constraint here? One laptop per child or the
No, no, no. One
Taiwanese?
No, no.
when
One laptop per child's founder made a company called Pixel G after that project,
okay, okay, okay. So you were
and
directly buying screens from Pixel G. Okay,
buying screens for them.
okay,
So
got it.
one of the very beautiful and had immense future, but I'm not sure why it didn't pick up. Essentially, what other people have done today is like pump in so much lumen that is still color or visible outside. But that's a very so our tablet had a 9-hour battery life on Android in 2010 because of this display. One of the best tech which we had seen at that
Wow.
time,
Okay.
but the capacity was limited, and because they can only make 800, not even 1200 were of bad quality. We could only make 800. Now we have sold more, and then we have to wait. Now so the message going out to users is that our shipment is delayed, our production is delayed, you're going to get later on. And one of the such tablet purchaser was TechCrunch again. They wanted to check the
Right.
check
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
check the tablet in person also. So they started pushing out videos on Hitler. We might have seen those memes where Hitler is banging the floor. Where is my iron
Yeah, yeah,
tablet?
yeah, 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 yeah.
So
That
they
German
made the
movie where
whole
they changed the
yes,
subtitles.
yes.
Yeah.
So they made, if you search TechCrunch notioning, you will get that video. They made a video where the Hitler is getting angry at every. Where is my tablet? And the others are saying, "Führer, the tablet was here, then went here, and then."
Oh man.
I can laugh about it right now, but I can't tell you how big a nightmare it was for me because like
Yeah.
the biggest media is writing something like this. Uh, okay, we got the next batch. We started shipping out. Now Japan tsunami hit. Japan is where the camera
Right.
sensors are coming from. I don't have
Okay.
camera sensors to make tablets further. So, like those delays kept happening, and we had a very unique bug in our first 100 devices that were shipped. Uh, so we had update continuously coming in, but in the first 100 devices, if the update comes in, the device gets bricked. The meaning of bricking is it doesn't boot up,
Oh
and
yeah.
the
I mean,
reason
it's
was
useless. Yeah. It's just a brick
is
basically. Then.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a brick. So
Yeah.
the reason is that when we flashed our device, flashing is you changing operating system with a new one. When we flashed our devices, they were already flashed multiple times. But when we are flashing a device which is shipped to a user, the bootloader ends at a particular address, but we are flashing from some other address. These addresses don't match, so device can't do anything. So people were shipped additional software online which they can download, put on a pen drive, and so they could recover it. So it was not a break, but it's for like 2 hours of still nightmare. But again, TechCrunch picked it up, other picked it up, and a big nightmare. But still, the first four times we sold in 88 countries. One of the mothers bought this tablet for her son, and she wrote back that I can't tell you how happy I am and how thankful I am to you for making this tablet because my son suffers from this issue where he can't look at light, and it is because of your tablet my son can actually study. We got people from USS ships, naval ships, that because of your device, I can actually work on my deck because it's black and white and I can read. And there at that time there was nothing else which I could actually afford as well, right? So really good reviews overall. The warranty policy was 5 years. So anything bad, we ship just swap a device with a new device. No issue on the hardware at all, none, literally zero. Software had
Amazing.
bugs which we
Mm.
kept fixing, but as such, like no hardware issue at all. Our warranty recall rates. Okay, so another issue. I'm shipping to 80 countries. How do I do warranty service now? So the plan was simple. If something happens, we are going to ship a new device. That forced the manufacturer and us to make sure that there is a zero failure on the device. So after manufacturing, while manufacturing, before packaging, the device was tested thoroughly before it actually goes out.
Mm.
But
Amazing.
now things have to again change. So now Nvidia comes back and says, I can't give you my processor anymore
Why?
because I'm exclusive to Motorola.
Oh, okay.
And Google comes back and says, you can't use my Android 3.0 Honeycomb
Because of Motorola again.
because I'm exclusive to Motorola. Google had bought Motorola at that
Oh,
time.
okay.
And then they came out with Motorola Zoom tablet.
Mm.
We still had inventory, we still had our own operating system and supply. So till
Which
Zoom
year was
was,
this?
this is 2011. We are not talking
Okay.
about 2011, second
Mm.
half.
Mm. Okay.
So we were competing with Motorola Zoom. We had limited inventory left, but we still ended up selling more than Motorola Zoom. Motorola Zoom, I think 20,000 units were sold. So if you look at from a commercial point of view, it was a huge success. We made at least, I don't remember the exact money, but we were at a 50% gross margin,
Wow.
and we would have,
Yeah, $650 you were selling it for, which is a even in today's market, $650 is a fairly premium pricing.
yeah. Yeah. So 650 and 350, they were 450. There were two tablets at that time because Pixel G said they can't supply. So we made a one regular tablet also with a normal display.
Okay.
But Pixel Gs were the ones, the two-in-one displays were the ones which were sold the most. So
Mm.
we were cash positive, and we knew that okay, we can't work with Nvidia anymore. But we had enough capital to run for next 2 years. Now the team size is 140 people.
And how much revenue did you make it in 2011? Do you remember the full
Yeah,
year
one
revenue?
second. Not over 4 years, like four iterations. We were talking about half a year, and we would have made around $14 million at that time
Wow, incredible. $14 million in a hardware business sitting out
in
of
a
India
hardware
is
business.
amazing.
Yes,
Amazing. Okay.
and uh, when I said gross margin, that it would not be part of this 14. Okay. Yeah, so I think after everything, we were left with around $4 million or something. After
Amazing.
paying salaries and clearing up the inventory and paying for the NRE and tooling, which because now we are doing well, manufacturer came back and said, "I helped you. Now, why don't you pay me?" So all of that. So it left with,
Mm.
I think, $4 million or something.
And
Uh,
you had just raised like a couple of crores from your friend.
yes, we had raised
That's
a
the
couple
only
of crores.
fundraising.
Yes,
The
that's the only.
51% stake, was it actually with the corporate, or that transaction never
No, that
materialized?
never happened, right? Because
Okay.
on the MOU,
They
yeah,
didn't
on
give
the
you any
MOU,
money,
yeah,
right?
they didn't give it me. Yeah,
Okay.
so that
Okay.
that never happened.
Mm.
Yeah. So numbers, I'm because it's long. I'm still trying to be correct. What I do remember is that we ended up with around $2 or $3 million in the bank after paying everyone.
Amazing.
That's the correct number. But on top of the revenue, I'm not able to get the exact thing.
Okay.
I can
Okay.
calculate, but then the keywords aren't
That,
correct.
that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
My CFO would know at that time. So,
Mm.
okay, so now we have to start again and we have to make Adam 2. So, we are thinking NVIDIA has rule out. They're not going to give the chips. And this time, we're going to pick a processor which has a life of 10 years. And the only company which does that is Texas Instrument. When they make a processor, the life is there forever. They're going to support that processor for as long as possible. So, we picked OMAP
What
5.
why is Nvidia's life not 10 years? What is the reason for that?
They're in
Software
consumer
updates.
electronics. They're in consumer electronics. In consumer electronics, the processors keep changing every year. So next year, Tegra 2, then Tegra 3, then Tegra 4. There's
And they
no,
stop supporting the old processor with software
yeah, the
updates.
old processors are supported for, like, say, next 3 years or 4 years. But because NVIDIA was also starting, they were support for it. But anyways, they are already ruled out. We can't use the processor. Tegra 2 was also probably would not have been given. And when you have big OEMs coming in, their volumes are going to be millions compared to our, which is going to be thousand. So we picked a Texas Instrument because they're good. The support is really good. We got the OMAP 5, invested a ton of money because this time we did the PCB design also in house. The full reference design, which was given by OMAP, was redesigned to add some of the features that we were looking for, like the DAC I spoke about, or oscilloscope that we spoke about, to support external peripherals and accessories. And 7 months into development, Texas Instruments comes back and says that, hey guys, we have stopped development of OMA 5 because they were trying to sell it to Amazon at a time, and I think the deal didn't go through. And then again, a shock, like, what exactly should we do now? Now we have spent around nearly most of the money. Then we are at the end of 2013 right now. We have spent 1 year in designing this, and the processor is not going to be made. Again, we have to start from
2012,
scratch.
you didn't sell anything because your inventory would have run out by then.
Inventory was run out in 2011 itself. 20,
Right.
2012, we started the whole design, and 2013 was when we are planning to launch. But just in 2013, they came back and said they can't give the processor, so you have to start from scratch now. Then this time, we went out and saw the processor, which can actually work out. But because we're short in time, we literally picked the MTK is there in all the Xiaomi phones now. Picked that processor along with one more processor called Rock Chip, which is very famous in Chinese devices. There were new entrants at that time, so we picked those as a motherboard and started making our device. But yeah, but by this time, our team is also slightly different. Our so my partner started taking up technology, and I started taking up the business. We got a device, but the pricing on the device was not right. It was done at a price point where it would not just sell, and we had a disagreement on what price we should sell at. And
How
the kind
much
of
was it coming to?
it was 35,000 is what the price we were selling at, whereas the bomb was just 9,000. So probably you should sell it around 15 or 16,000. That was the
Uh,
correct price point for that tablet.
Rupees, you're saying.
Rupees, yes. Now
This
we
you
are
were
in now.
okay. You're targeting India now.
Now we're targeting India because now
Why
Flipkarts
is that?
and Snapdeals, yeah, Flipkart and Snapdeal are big now, so they are now looking for partnerships and then scale up.
Okay,
So
you have
price point is
distribution.
correct.
Mm.
Yeah, price points for, and we were shipping outside also, but now we want to scale from India also. The
And
price
when
point,
you say the BOM, that means bill of material. So the cost of
bill of
putting it
material,
together
cost
was
of goods,
9,000,
yes, yes,
and so you thought that 16,000 is the right price to sell it at.
probably the right price, but
Uh, In general, for this industry, what is that ratio, like bill of material
50
versus?
50%, 50%.
Okay, 50.
If you're
Generally,
Apple,
50%
then
is bill.
yeah, if you're Apple, then you can command 50% for the end product. If you're someone else, then the 50% includes a lot of other things also. So the end profit might be around 20%.
Okay.
There's a brand value which also comes along, so you can push.
Okay. Mm. Okay.
Now,
Got it.
yeah, but I have an OCD on testing. Every device that's made has to be tested, but it's a character you can't pass on. So the team that worked on the hardware did not had that OCD, and every tablet which came in India had a hardware problem. So of course it's faulted. Every device, and then my partners decided, like, why don't we sell it to universities? They cracked a deal at a very low price, literally at the a bomb price, and at that price, no tablets there. University said yes, why not? Because tablets were coming at cheap. But kids are kids, students are students, and the moment they will plug in the USB charger, it will just break. And a hardware failure of that scale is a massive problem. So we recalled everything, opened it up, and fixed it, and then
Mm.
started making again. But now again, we are stuck with the inventory and the bad product on the hardware side. Software is good because we are using Stack Android. There's no software customized which is going from our end. Now,
By now, Android started
Android
supporting
started.
tablets.
No, no, not yet.
Okay.
Samsung Galaxy had come. Yes, they had started. Yes, we're
Okay.
talking about Android 4.0. Yes,
Okay.
tablet OS was there.
And
Uh,
Google also had allowed more vendors to come in. So,
Google
like that
also had, yes,
exclusivity for
it was
Motorola, they
gone.
ended.
Yes.
Okay.
So now
Mm.
Notioning is acting literally like Micromax or Lava. We are, except in our case, we are designing the industrial design, the overall design of the product. But everything else is exactly what Micromax would do. Go to China, pick something, and come back here. That's what we're also doing then. So it's like going out of the soul of what we started with. Second device also didn't do well. We probably would have sold 1,500 units of that. A lot of inventory stuck in China, which we couldn't take back as well. So then we decided that, okay, if we have to continue, I have to think out of the box. Then we thought, okay, Windows is getting better. So if the next generation devices can be on Windows, and there we again did industrial design, but this time very frugal. I've came back into technology, made the product, and we introduced something called Notion Ink Cane, and that was a two-in-one, India's first two-in-one, and was priced also very aggressively. And we worked with Snapdeal, and it flew literally off the shelf. So whatever we had, the inventory was sold out. So we
So, two in
had
one meaning the keyboard was detachable or it would
keyboard
like fold
keyboard
up
were,
in. Okay.
keyboard were detachable, or something
Mm.
like Microsoft Surface.
Mm.
But
Got it.
but when the Adam 2 failed, the crack started happening between me and my partner on the future. I said that we should do Windows because that makes sense. He said, no, we should still stick to Android and raise funds. We can't raise funds also. So finally, I got an investor who was ready to invest in Notion Inc. And the investor, we had a deal. You're going to invest $4 million for 30%. The company valuation is kept low because we don't have money anyways.
Mm.
But my partner told him that you don't have to invest in Notion Inc. We can actually start a new company where you can give me, let's say, 10% and invest all your money there, and you end up owning 90%. I don't know exactly
Uh,
10 or 90,
uh,
but I know the numbers are 30%. And that
right.
happened. And then so my partner came and said, okay, we can't work together, I'm quitting. He quit, and that's when we started a Windows journey. But in parallel, they're in Hyderabad designing, and the agreement was that it's not going to enter in the same field, but they're doing exactly the same. They're designing Windows tablet and doing exactly what we were planning to do also. They would have spent close to $100 million in that company, and the company got bankrupt uh, pretty soon because money is
And
not everything. They had
right.
Sachin Tendulkar as brand ambassador, best
Wow.
who's who in the business division, but the product itself, like you have to have that soul or knack of making something which really kills. And at the same
It was
time,
a tablet only company.
it was a tablet, a mobile phone, then electric cycle, IoT devices, AI for everything you can imagine in the sun. Big team
Okay.
of probably 400, 500 people.
Okay.
Now we're talking about 2014, 15. We did really well. We launched Notion Inc. Kane, we launched Notion Signature Black, and then we launched Notion Able. But
And these
now
are
in
all Windows.
all windows two in one,
Okay.
and we are doing really good volume. We are cash positive, and we are able to manage our running capital really well.
So essentially, now you're selling this as a low cost laptop, like a netbook
It's a low,
version 2.
literally a low cost laptop,
Hmm.
but still not so. But it was still around 50% more expensive than what Micromax or Lava were doing, because we are taking care of the quality and the overall specifications. The RAMs were
But
very high.
they were not doing Windows devices, right? They were just
Just,
doing Android.
oh, they were not doing Windows till 2015.
Okay, they
Now we are
also
in
got into.
2016. Yeah, now Notioning Able is launched. Now Micromax, Carbon, Lava, all of them are coming it with half the price of what we are doing. And
They
in
saw
these
that there is a
years,
market for
there's a
a
market just
Windows.
jumping.
Uh,
Yes.
okay. Hmm.
And now I'm going back to my partner and asking him that, can you sell back your equity because you're not here, and I need to raise funds. I cannot raise funds by telling the incoming investor that I have a debt promoter who's doing exactly the same stuff. That didn't
Yeah.
work out
Right.
at all.
Right. Hmm.
So, and we saw that now Micromax and the price war has started, something which you cannot play unless you have a real good amount of money. So we
And
decided
you
that
stopped your global sales altogether. You were just focused on India.
we're just focusing on India at that time.
Okay.
Because for global sales, see, every business has two most important components: receivables and account payables. So if you have to pay today, in fact, because we are the way we are manufacturing, we have to pay 30, 60 days before we are going to get the order. And receivables are 30 days after I get the product in hand, because that's the time of inventory clearance. I have to figure out 4 months of running capital. So the plan was that let's fix the running capital, because no one is ready to invest. Once we have that, then we can scale up.
But that problem stays the same whether you sell in India or US. Is but in US you'll probably get better margins.
In US, you'll get better margins, but now there's so much competition that in US itself, you have Walmart selling a tablet, Android tablet at like cutthroat prices. You can't compete.
Okay.
And
Okay.
international market, having touched international market in the first product, I knew that the product has to be outclassed. Like it has to really speak for itself. I didn't want to be an Indian company making a Chinese product and selling US. That was not the aim,
Got it.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
I've,
Makes
I've
sense.
always felt I've always felt that if my product is going out of the country, it's representing my country also in some way. It has to be out really the best, or should not just go out.
Okay. Okay. Did you ever cross that 14 million, roughly, whatever, some
Never
14-ish?
again. Never
Okay.
again.
That
Never again.
2011 revenue. Okay.
No,
Hmm.
never again.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
And yeah, so now we're in 2016, and this discussion happening. My partner is not ready to return the equity back or sell back. He wanted at a valuation which was not possible at all. So we decided to shut down Ocean Inc. And one of my college mate from Kharagpur joined me in 2014. He helped me actually scale the whole Windows business. Operation wise is like fantastic. It took care of whole operations, manufacturing, sourcing, logistics, and everything went flawless. And we both realized that because of course he's a partner, I have to give him equity also, and I can't because now my other partner is not leaving. So we decided, let's shut down and start a new one. And then we started Inkers Technology.
Do you think Notion Inc. had a future if you hadn't shut it down?
It has a future. So
Because there's
it
no
still has a future.
there's no
And
Indian mobile slash tablet company to speak of, right? I mean, all the
no,
Indian companies are now just like, very marginal players like Micromax, etc. Are all
yes,
marginal players today. It's totally dominated by Chinese or like say Apple,
yes.
and so
And
uh, uh,
so see, it's a first baby, right? The first baby is also very, very dear. So till I'm alive, I'm going to make sure that I get notioning back, because the concept is not dead yet. And in 2008, I wrote a 20-year plan of what I want to do with the rest of my life. I thought I'm 23, I will be 43, I'll retire. But in that plan, I've only covered 2 years. 18 years of my plan is still left.
and
The first
what
product,
else is there in that
the
plan?
first, the first product was called Adam. The second was called Abel and Eve, Abel and Cain. So Eve is not there.
Uh,
So they were
you're
Adam,
very
Abel.
inspired by the Bible. Huh?
No, it's so if you have names, then you can actually talk about them, and the genealogy
Yeah,
made
that's
sense
true.
because I can
That's
just use it. So if you
Yeah.
follow the genealogy, the last product is supposed to be called Nahor. Nahor is son of Moses, and Nahor is the reverse of my name also, which is Rohan. So that was the last product
Wow.
which I wanted to end at, and that's a product which is going in space. You can buy that product on Jupiter. Jupiter's moon, or let's say a Titan, and that product
Wow.
represents you in the space, which has ionic engines. And so, because we can dream, I dreamt that why is that not possible? Why can't I make a device which is in the ocean representing you, so you can actually feel the ocean, go at the depths where you can't, or be in the moon, allow you to construct your small house like we do on the beaches. All that is possible. So it's like the vision goes beyond what I uh, what is even happening today. Eve itself is, for example, the definition of Eve today, even till today, there's no one who has made that. And the definition for Eve is very simple for me. Now, this moment here, right now, I'm talking to you. There's no one going to capture this moment in such a way that I can relive this moment again. For me to relive, I need to get everything in 3D, exactly getting the same temperature in his room, have this kind of emotion in which I'm right now. Right? There's no such device which can do that. E for me was literally a flying Amazon Echo with ChatGPT inside, with enough intelligence to be able to capture the reality in 3D and recording in 3D, doing compression. And all. So whole definition written. But even today, like we are not there yet. Probably 2 years from now, the definition might become reality. So, and that's just the
Mm.
second product. Then there's a huge ton of lineage to come.
Okay, okay, interesting. Okay, so once you shut down Notion Inc. and started Inkers, what was Inkers doing?
Yes, but in between, in 2014, one of the guy came approached me and said that he is making electric motors. Would you be interested? He wanted to become a distributor of Notion Inc. And I met him. I knew that he doesn't have money to become a distributor, but was very interested in what he's doing. And he was making electric motors. And I also always wanted to be in automotive industry. I designed multiple vehicles and concepts in my college as well at that time, when I was in college. So I got interested and invested every penny I had personally into his company. And then I became a partner there also. And that story I'll continue. This happened in 2014, 2015. Now,
He was
the
making
dream
electric motors for what? For like water pumps and all? Or-
no, bikes and racing bikes and the RVC college here in Bangalore had used some of his motors for the international competition, racing competition, and the team came second, third, fourth sometimes.
Okay, okay, e-bikes basically. Okay.
E-bikes, and this was
Mm.
the axial flux motor. So the origin of axial flux or introduction to axial flux to me was through this particular friend. I'm going to
Okay,
stitch
so
the story.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll understand what is this term you use. Actually,
axial flux,
flux,
axial
action
flux motor.
flux. Okay,
Axial,
actual.
axial, so AXIAL,
Okay,
axial.
okay, okay. Excel flush. Okay, ठीक है. We'll come to this
Flux.
term. Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's 2014. Keep that in mind. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
Now 2016. Now me and Manish, my partner, who joined me, as I said, in 2014, we are thinking what should we do, and the dream was simple that we want now. AI is the next frontier. It's a 2016. Most of the people have learned about AI in last 4, 5, 6 years properly. But 2016, we are clear because we had already started working on something like that. In fact, my BTech project was in AI in college, and that is also a funny story. I got EX from so I read the constitution of Kharagpur. It never said that you have to do your BTech project in your department. So I did my BTech project in computer science, even though I'm from mechanical, and submitted my project there. So on the report card, I have an EX from computer science, which starts for excellent, and an F
Okay.
from mechanical because I did not submit a project there.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my
Mm.
head of department called me and said that, okay, you figured out a loophole, but you have to do a project in mechanical. So for computer science, my project was phase detection, and for mechanical department, my project was nuts and screws and the bolt detection and some defects in that. So same tech I could use. So I was exposed to the AI part already at that time. So
Face.
2016 now,
You're talking of face detection, like facial
face,
recognition.
yeah,
Okay.
face detect. Yeah,
Okay.
recognition is second part. First you detect a face, then you detect who that face is.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So face
Got it.
detection. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
2016 is there. In last 1 year, I had spent a lot of time in learning convolution neural networks. That's the literally the main algorithm which even today we use in vision, computer vision. So 2016, we are brainstorming and we figured that we need to move into AI. The dream since
So
beginning has been to make
this was
computers
for
work
the
for us.
Notion tablet. You were learning the convolution neural network for
No,
computer
no.
vision.
So that I was learning from my interest only. I
Okay.
was planning to use some of that in the device because the device has to now have some sort of AI to start differentiating. We were thinking, how do we make our devices different? So if the device had AI, then definitely very different from other people. But my partner is not quitting, so it makes sense to just stop it and start from scratch. So we started from scratch, and then we this concept of Eve, what I just explained to you, we started with that concept that we are going to make this device. But in 2 years, it was clear, and we had raised around $1 million also from Sachin Bansal and Binny Bansal. They love the idea, especially Sachin, and that this is sort of possible, and uh, that can happen from India as well. And this looks like a future. So they had deep interest in B2C, and we are talking about a B2C device. So we spent next couple of years in designing that device as much as possible. But now let's talk about a device. I'm talking about a device which is 100 grams. It can fly in air, and it has ChatGPT in 2016. It can fly for 45 minutes and has the enough computation to process things like video compression, recording videos, and all that. So tech is just not there. And again, that was a
Bo-
I had overestimated how fast AI can move.
you where's the flying element coming in this? You want
Yeah,
to make
so
a like a device which will record, and you wanted that to be like a drone
yeah,
format.
because if you have to carry your device with you, then so for example, if your daughter walks for the first time, are you going to take your phone out and take that video recording, or you just want to enjoy that moment? If you want to enjoy that moment, the recording has to be done by someone else from the best of the cinematographic position, not just
Okay.
sitting somewhere, uh, and you have to keep it somewhere to record. So these devices must be mobile on its own. You should be able to tell the device, like, why don't you go and check whether my car tire is good or not, or is someone at the door. So that's the kind of
Mm.
device we are working on. We have a lot of
Okay.
fluid simulations. We figured that the device can fly for 4 minutes, not 45 minutes. The computation is not there for doing the stuff we are looking at, right? And we are also running out of capital slowly. Now, then we decided that okay, the stack, and that's where you can say the pivot happened for Inkers, where we decided okay, we want to do all of this. There are a lot of AI algorithms we have already built, but we have also built a sensor fusion technology where we can fuse just different camera frames to create a low sparse 3D point cloud. A point cloud is a representation of a 3D space, and we won an award also for that from DRDO. The idea was simple: take a cheap camera, put it on a drone, send it to your enemy territory. It's going to create the 3D of that and deliver that, so you can actually plan the attack or anything that you have to do. But by this time, both Sachin and Vinny, they were not interested in B2B. Now we're talking B2B. So they were clear that we only want Incus to be a B2C company. So, but we continue building it because we could see B2C, we can't build. We need far more capital. We need hundreds of millions of dollars to be able to do. Amazon Echo spent around $50 million to reach where they are. And then you have Apple coming out with their own small speakers where Siri is also involved. So this kind of resources and computation required is like not possible in the amount of money we have.
You wanted this flying drone to also have the ability to hear your commands and process them.
Here you come on, process them, talk back to you. We have done enough, in fact, a lot of UX research also. I give you a small example. Let's say you are with your girlfriend and having a private moment, and you forgot to turn the privacy settings off. Then the device recorded something. Okay, now you have a breakup with your girlfriend. What happens to that data?
Right.
So we have
Yeah.
gone to that extent that who owns the data, and according to us, people who are in the data own the data. So it's not just you, like it's her also. So if she decides that this data cannot go out, she can actually go online, look at the data, and then say that this data can never be shared unless I give permission, because it's a very personal device we're talking about.
It it sounds very I mean, it sounds like a hard sell, to be honest. I'm not sure if there is a market for such a device. I mean, the thing is that nobody would have thought that there is a market for Amazon Echo until they
Yeah.
actually got it out and people experienced it and they realized, wow. So yeah, I mean,
See,
that is always there.
if you actually think about it, now today we have uh, uh, DJI drones, right? They're small enough, who follow you, who take your selfies, and who take your video. The moment you integrate a DJI drone, which already flies for 45 minutes with Amazon Echo or let's say an Apple speaker, it is exactly what I just spoke about.
Right. Yeah. No, but it doesn't sound like a mass product. No, how many have you seen people walking around with this DJI drone? What is the DJI here?
DJI, the best drones that you can purchase today. It's a Chinese company which probably has
Okay, DJI is
the
the brand
largest
name there.
market share.
Okay,
DJI
okay,
is a
okay,
brand name. Yeah.
okay, okay, okay. Hmm. I mean,
See,
I've only seen drones used in India for marriages. That's it.
yeah, because they're already made illegal, and you need to get a license to fly them. So regulation is also
Okay,
slightly stricter.
okay, okay. Got it. Okay, right. So yeah, coming to your journey, B2C
Yeah.
pivoting to
So
B2B.
we moved from B2C to B2B, and for B2B, we made a whole AI stack where we were making something called offline cookies. So the idea was that, let's say you go to Louis Vuitton in Delhi store, and from there you are going to Hermes, if it exists. We can tell Hermes that you went to Louis Vuitton but did not buy anything, and you had come in an Audi. So we are tracking you everywhere. So that's where the face recognition is coming in, and user behavior is coming in. I can tell Amish that this guy came last month also, but at that time he did buy. So the kind of it's sort of a website cookie where the stores now know that how good customer you are. And the solution was ready. We started deploying it in Delhi malls and Bangalore malls, and that's when the COVID hit.
But this sounds very controversial
It
because
is,
I
but
mean, like
the
privacy
way we was
concerns. Mm.
yeah, the way we were solving it was by never linking your name to the data we have. So I will
Okay,
never
so
know your
there's
name.
just
For me,
customer
yeah,
X
customer X.
profile will be shown that customer X has
Exactly.
visited your store 5 times in the last 1 year and
Yes.
his average purchase. But how will you know how much he purchased?
How much?
It'll
No, we
have to
don't know
be
how much he purchased. I just know that he purchased because
okay
we are
because
not linked to the.
you
But if you
you
go in
you're
Louis Vuitton and come out with a bag, we probably would have purchased good.
right. Okay,
Uh,
okay. Or you would have seen him at the cash till. This was in store or
yes.
just outside the stores, tracking
Outside,
who's going
inside,
in.
both. Outside,
Okay,
inside, both. So all
okay,
the cameras.
okay,
So the
okay.
whole tech was built to handle 100 plus cameras at the same time. So right
Wow.
from
Okay.
parking, where you're going to park, which car you came into, how you're traveling, everything was basically integrated in one single solution. Now, at the same time, we were also working on our the sensor fusion tech. Now we started working on a lidar and a camera concept also, where we can make 3D in reality faster. You can capture the whole 3D, and it'll go back to Eve. Eve needed that 3D system, right? So what I'm going to talk about soon is going to interlink with each other. So that 3D stuff is what we're also getting better at slowly. But by the time the
And
solution started
this
getting deployed,
Bangalore Mall pilot, which you were doing, that was a paid pilot.
it was a paid pilot, yes.
How much were you charging there?
It was, I think, around 4 lakh a month.
Okay.
Yes,
And this
dependent on number of
intelligence
cameras.
would go to the stores. Each store would get the
This
intelligence.
intelligence will go to the store. First, it was for the mall owner, and the mall owner would provide this as a feature to the store owners. That was the original idea.
Okay. Okay.
And we took part in a lot of smart city projects also, but they don't come to fruition at all. It's just like you do keep on doing pilots, and there is no end. But that's when the COVID hit, and our solution was designed for malls. Now malls are not open for 1 year.
Yeah. Right.
So but now going back to the motor stuff, now we are talking 2019, 2018 now. So we have spent 4 years, we've done enough prototypes, and I pumped in all the personal money I have in this company, but the motors just not scaling up. Like it works in a so there are two kinds of motor: brushed motor, brushless motor. Brushed motors are the ones which I use in mixers, and you see them sparking. There's something touching the coils. Brushless are the commutation does not involve any physical contact, and they are very difficult to design. So brushed motors, what he had designed, worked very well. When we started going to brushless, we were not able to make samples. Also, it was very difficult. And every time you make a controller for such a motor, you are burning a lot of money because it needs very high power MOSFETs, which you need to switch very fast and will end up burning them. Each MOSFET would cost something like 50,000 to a lakh, depending on whether silicon carbide or not. And we need six of them for each design. Every time you burn one, the whole thing is gone. We will start again. Okay, I'll link this back again in 2020. Now,
And what is axle flux?
okay,
What you
flux,
might as
flux,
well explain that
FLUX.
also. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now, I don't have a round object, but most of the motors you have seen, they will look like this, right? They're long. They're cylinder
Yeah. The
blocks.
the piston. Yeah. The piston goes in and out. Yeah.
No, that's an engine. We're talking about electric
Okay.
motor,
Okay. Okay.
right? Like your water motor at
Yeah.
hotel
Yeah. They're out.
at your
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
There's
but they're
something
long. They're
rotating
longer.
inside. Yeah.
Yes, they're longer. So the magnets sit on top of the radii, right? On the circumference, the magnets are there. So this is called a radial flux motor because the magnets are radial and the flux is coming in the radii direction. In case of axial flux, the motors are very small. They're little like your, you can say a scooter tire, that small. And the magnets sit on the sides, on the front and the back face of the cylinder. And here the magnetic flux is axial. It is parallel to the axis of rotation.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
just because of this change in topology, the axial flux motors have far better magnetic flux for the copper to interact with, and they have very high density of power delivery, but they are very difficult to design. So theoretically, a axial flux motor can be 10 times lighter while delivering exactly the same torque and RPM while being 96% efficient also. So that's the kind of motor we're designing.
Okay, got it, got it. The conversion of energy to motion is much more effective in axle
Much more
flux.
effective, and the motor is also very, very light.
Okay, okay, okay,
Okay,
got it.
so now we are in COVID, and that's the time when I brainstorm again what we need to do. Then spoke to one of my investors that this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of entering real estate. That gentleman was already in real estate, and then we figured that in real estate, one of the problem is that there's no tech. First of all, it's they're very it takes a long time for a new tech to come in real estate because the projects are very, very long. And second is there is no clarity. Like I am, let's say, a builder. I'm going to hire you to design the building. You're going to hire a contractor who's going to make the floor, and the contractors are going to hire someone else who's going to contract the people who are going to come. And the amount of time it takes and the data flows to so many different levels that you actually have no idea where the construction is. If you've done your house interior, I've not heard one single person telling me my house interior finished on time. There's no construction that I've seen that finishes on time. So we're
Yeah,
always
yeah,
over
yeah,
budgeting.
yeah.
Yeah. The problem is that you don't have the exact data. So what if I can actually create the exact data where you can go on a site with our sensor fusion technology, take the whole 3D scan of the building, and then I can give you immediately a real 3D model where you can play at, and the model can also tell you that this pillar is not right, this column is not correct, there's a water leakage happening from point A, and then all of that happens within a day, and at a price which is 1/100th of the competition. So that was a pitch, and uh, the investor liked the pitch. He introduced me to this company called Colliers. They are partners right now, and Colliers also got really excited, and they also had some idea that this kind of tech should be there, and we started working on the prototype. So we took our sensor
And
fusion technology.
Colliers is an IPC, or the industry term for which is
They are
like an
PMC,
international
PMC,
EMC. Okay,
yeah,
so
project management consultant.
okay, so they work with like a DLF to manage their construction
Yeah.
projects.
So
Okay,
the embassy kind of buildings will be built by them, and they are responsible for designing the whole building and delivering and the handover part.
okay,
So we worked with them, got a good idea of what exactly the requirements are, started working on it. 1 year, just in a room, 24 hours, as much as possible, build the whole system. And finally, the system went live in 2021, 2022. And the system is very sticky. And now we are scanning, I think we have scanned close to 2,500 different floors as of now. 150 million scans have happened, and the tech that we committed we are building is there now. So if you give me a site, let's say a school, or the whole process takes as long as it takes to walk. So you hold the device that we've made, you walk in a site, the device has a thermal camera, a spectral camera, a normal camera, and a lidar, and it captures the data. And for 100,000 square feet kind of site, for example, a 2 acre site will be captured in 15 to 20 minutes while people are working and no clearance is required. The data we
and
generate is around five.
this device, you have to point it everywhere, or there's some rotation happening inside the device so it captures all directions, or
No,
what?
so
How does it?
you have to point it everywhere. When I say
Okay,
everywhere, but it still has a very large focus, just like your phone camera.
okay, so it's like walking with a phone, taking a video of the whole place. It's
Walking
literally like
exactly.
that.
So we
Okay,
have yeah, so we have two three different devices. One device is like that. The other device actually has a 180-degree dome, so it captures everything that you're looking. So you have to then make sure you're just walking properly. You don't even have to point that device. So a 100,000 square feet kind of site, it's going to take around 500 gigabyte of data. That's the kind of data that we generate. Now, our competition takes around a week to scan the same site because in
and how do
other
they do it?
technology, yeah, in case of other technology, you have to go take the lidar, keep it at a particular location. The lidar will rotate, and you get the data. Now you have to go 10 feet from there, keep the lidar there again, and then capture. So when you scan a 100,000 square feet site, you probably will have around 2,000 scans. Now, someone has to sit on a computer and align all of these scans, and that's a big manual labor. In our case, you just walk. This technology is called SLAM, not invented by us. It's already there, but our AI essentially allowed us to do it better and faster.
What is the full form of SLAM? Is that an acronym or?
Yeah, simultaneous localization and movement.
Okay. So as you're moving, it is stitching it
Stitching things,
together
yes.
to create a 3D
Yes.
map in real time.
Yes. Yes.
I think today something as small as a vacuum cleaner also comes with this, like those
Yes.
robo
Yes.
vacuum
When you
cleaners.
see, exactly.
Uh,
But
they,
if you've seen the images, you'll see those dots, small dots, it's filled of small dots, right? That's the output of a lidar. What we
yeah,
do
yeah,
is
yeah.
that what we do is that at the same point, the RGB camera is also looking, so I know the color. The thermal camera is also looking, so I know the temperature, and a spectral camera also looking, so I know the spectral wavelength of that particular point. So what we do is, I can't give you a 500 gigabyte file. The end use case is not to generate that file, but that's what the competition does. We take that file, and then our AI algorithm works on top to compress this into a 3D model, which is 20 MB. Now the 20 MB of file can be opened on a browser with the color texture of how the scene looks like and the temperature texture.
So that 3D model is like a metaverse kind of a thing
Is
of
yeah,
the
is a
space.
hyper realistic metaverse where you're seeing exactly how things are. So
Mm.
now for every floor we scan twice a month, and you get continuous updates. We are able to identify concrete defects, some deviations. The columns are not correct. The plumb issues. Plumb is basically the column not being exactly flat, and exactly at 90 degree. Now, the solution has also started entering interior use case because your walls in your kitchen are not 90 degree; they are 89 point something. Now, when you cut a marble at 90 degrees, it's not going to fit. Around 10 to 15% of the interior budget is just wastage. So they have to account for that while they are actually quoting for it.
Mm. Okay, interesting,
And
interesting.
you can send a person to measure the wall, but he's going to use a laser stuff. But how many points can you take in a room? But now you have an exact 3D model which you can take back to your office. The interior designer doesn't have to go at the site, use that to understand how big the cabinet should be. The floor is not flat. In fact, one of the examples which I saw myself, the wooden flooring was done by the wooden flooring guy. The library unit was designed by the library unit guy. He installed it there. And now the false ceiling guy comes in and realizes that the floor was 1 inch down. So when he's making false ceiling, he's making it straight. So at the start of the library unit, you have 1 inch gap, but at the end you have 2 inch, and that irritates you. But
Right. Okay. Interesting. I guess today there is a possibility to really make this very cheap for like more mass market usage. Like, in
that is exactly what we have done. In fact, soon it's going to be on the website also. You can call Inkers for something like 2,500, 3,000 rupee, and it's going to scan your house and give you the 3D model, which you can play around at your own pace on our website. Do not need anything you want. And in fact, we're extending this for other customers also, where you can go at, let's say, 1,000 rupee subscription, and we'll keep scanning it every month. So you know what is the interior development happening and how your house is actually getting built. So you're now doing B2C.
okay, but the fact that you have to scan it kind of increases your costs, right?
No, no, anyone can scan. It's like the next generation devices
I
that
mean,
we're making. We have
okay, you're not selling the device; you're still selling the scanning service. Would you like
there are
to
two.
get into selling the device? Where
No, so there are two models.
mm,
There are two services. One is built on a mobile phone, so you can take your own mobile phone and do it. The second is in a higher precision. You need higher precision. Cameras are not capable of. Even the lidar in an iPhone is not capable of doing what a really good lidar can do. And
okay,
now all I have to do is to get someone at Denso, take my device, scan and give it back to me. That
uh,
costs $100.
okay, okay.
This is
But you don't want to sell the device. How much would a device cost if you had to?
device for. Yeah. So the first device we made was around 25 lakh. From there, I think today we are somewhere around 3 lakh. But the point is that if I sell the device, then the device certification, manufacturing, warranty, all of that will come. Service and everything is going to come back. So it's better
It
that. And
only if there's a large market does it make sense to
yes,
sell the
yes,
device.
yes.
Okay.
And if you are going to use the device 10 times a year, then probably you might not invest.
Yeah, yeah, at 3 lakhs. Yeah, I mean 3 lakhs is your BOM, the bill of material. I'm
Yeah.
assuming so.
Yes.
Until and unless it reaches like a sub 1 lakh, it probably will not be a mass adopted device.
Yeah, and I think by the time that will happen, iPhones will become much better at lidar capture. So that's where we are
You
not
may not
in that
need a
direction.
device. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. Interesting. And how much revenue does Incurs do?
We broke even this January, and think we'll cross 1 million ARR this year.
Okay. Got it.
It's,
Okay.
it's pure
Got it.
SaaS, and this is without
Uh,
taking B2C into account.
right. Okay. And this is you're doing this full time, or what? Like, how much is your involvement here?
Yes. So this is what I did full time from 2016 to 2022.
Okay.
Now going to 2022. So the Inca solution is built. I worked with the whole tech team to build a stack, and now the devices are ready. We are scanning, and the business now is in the scaling mode where the sales have to happen, and that's where my partners are helping me to scale that business up. And the friend I was talking about with whom we were making the motor, so I introduced him to one of the investors I knew, and my friend said that if I have enough money and capital, I can finish this motor, and actually we can make an automotive company out of it. So I got them together, invested in the company, and they started working. And after 2 years, we realized that nothing else still happened. 1.5 year, so 18 months have gone. A lot of money is just spent,
When
but
was the investment made?
2021,
Okay. Hmm.
21, 22. So and then we were discussing internally what exactly should happen because this is not scaling up. And July of last year, 2022, yeah, July of last year, then I entered scene and I saw exactly what's happening, and we figured that just with the research mindset, you can't scale it up. It has to change. And the original agreement was that we want to become an automotive company. I was not involved in Tresa at that time. I was outside. I just connected them. And then we decided, no, it's not going to work. We spoke to the person. We figured out that he has to move on. And I agent came in. And from July last year, we worked on the motor design from scratch. We're not using any of the design that we were working on earlier. We figured out there were some big issues there. We worked on the design, got a really good team, a very small team, but a really good team. Started working on the motor. Within 2 months, the motor was ready, along with some of the controller output that we're looking at. Build around 6 prototypes on the motor. Then we electrified a Mercedes-Benz S-Class, connected our motor, took it to nice road in Bangalore, touched 120 kilometer with that particular motor.
Wow.
Then got
Wow.
a truck chassis, built the first electric truck chassis prototype for ourselves. Went to some of the campuses here in Bangalore, tested that out. This is December last year, December 2022. By April, we finished the one full truck, which is the Model V0, with our motor running inside with the overall truck also made from scratch here in our office with laser cuts and all. Then by September, we made the Model V2, which is an improvement of the last design with a better motor and better battery packs. So a lot of effort has gone last 18 months itself, where the engineering team has literally come together really very, very well. A lot of innovation on the motor side, on the battery tech side. The whole battery is submersed inside liquid. It's not getting cooled by a metal contact. Now, because it's submersed inside liquid, if I want to charge it faster, I can cool the liquid before the battery gets charged, and I can pump more current or withdraw more current also. And the liquid also is lithium fire retardant. So in case there's an accident, you have the fire retardant around the liquid to dose the fire off also.
What
And
liquid are you using?
this is a lithium fire retardant dielectric.
Okay. Okay.
Dielectric basically means does not conduct electricity. Lithium fire retardant would mean that it's good in. So you can't pour water on lithium fire, by the way. It requires 30 to 40 more times of water to dose off a electric vehicle fire compared to a diesel or a petrol. That's why
Mm,
it's very
okay.
dangerous. Water, in
Right.
fact, breaks into hydrogen and hydrogen burns. So it's very, very dangerous unless you know that you have 40 times more water to break the fire. But this oil itself is a lithium fire retardant. So if the lithium was to burn inside this oil, it won't because it will
This is a type of an oil, basically.
stop in oil. Yeah. And the oil is
Okay.
taken out of the battery, cooled, and sent back in.
Okay.
And
This is like what does it? So there's like a big box which has oil inside it, and then within the oil there is a battery pack, and how is the battery pack stable? How is it not sloshing around? And
yeah. So the sloshing happens if you have air inside.
okay.
These are nearly incompressible fluids, so it's not going to like become dense at one location and less dense other. So the whole thing is just filled with oil. Oil is taken
Hmm.
out and sent back in.
And there is a cooling mechanism to cool the oil.
There's a cooling mechanism. The oil comes out, it goes through the radiator, gets cooled, and it goes back into the battery pack.
Okay. And for a truck, you necessarily need to do this because a truck needs a vast amount of electricity as opposed to a car, which does not need so much.
More than vast is the amount of electricity it needs per unit time, because you can have a big battery bank which you are using slowly. In that case, the discharge is not high. But if you're drawing a large amount of currents, our currents can go up to 350 amps. Now, if we talk in performance, for example, our motor is 250 kilowatt. Let's say we are 96% efficient and 4% inefficient. We are again talking about a huge power, right? So 10% is 25 kilowatt. Let's say 5% loss is going to be 12.5 kilowatt of power. Your ACs run at 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatt. Now that power has to be dissipated somehow. So cooling is required for that.
Mm.
So the scale is
Okay.
different. A scooter uses a 3 kilowatt battery pack. Our truck uses 300 kilowatts of battery pack. It's 100 times bigger. And hence,
So, when you say 96% efficiency, it means the remaining 4% is essentially wasted as heat. It is generating
yes,
heat. That is what it
yes,
means.
correct,
Okay.
correct.
Okay. And the 96% is getting converted into motion.
96% is converting into motion. We today are at 90%, and that's the engine target we have, from taking ourselves from 90% to 96%.
And what is most Indian EVs are at what kind of percentage?
65, 65, 70.
Okay, like all these Ola and Ather
No,
and
scooters will be efficient. Scooters, Ola, Ether, they probably would be around 88, 90%.
why is that? Because it consumes less
Low
power,
power,
so
yeah,
low
low
power.
power, low current requirement, and literally everything is bought out of China or companies like Bosch, right? So they're not making the components in house, and when you buy something from Bosch, it's going to be good. And batteries
Okay,
are also, cells are also coming from, so there's less happening there. So it can be as efficient as 90% if driven properly. But
okay.
when you talk about large OEMs who are running this
Like say
200 or
the
300 kilowatt
Tata
hours,
Nexon and these
Nexon is
kind of.
still 30 kilowatt. Nexon
Okay.
is still 30 kilowatt.
So what is a example of a vehicle which has a large
Let's say
battery?
Electra, or let's say you have Electra for trucks. Then you have Switch Mobility for buses, and they're also coming in with the trucks also. Now Tata Motors is also coming with electric vehicles. All OEMs are coming with electric vehicles,
Okay,
but
so the
none of
bus
the
truck,
Indian.
this heavy vehicle category, currently their
Yes,
average efficiency is about 60%.
in
So
in
they are
currently in the country, not 60, around 65, 70 ish.
they
Currently,
must be
the Indian
consuming a
OEMs.
lot of heat. How do they deal with heat?
No, so
Is this
the power
submersion in
delivery is not
liquid?
high.
Okay.
No, they have proper radiator where the coolant comes in and cools, and then it's taken out.
So the coolant hits the battery or the motor. What does it hit to cool? Like,
Yeah, so the let's say battery cells, battery is made of metal. There are two ways of cooling it if you're not doing submersive. One is Tesla way, in which you have a snake-like aluminum coil between the batteries, and this snake-like aluminum coil has small capillary tubes inside through which you can send liquid, and you can take it back. This is what is happening in Nexon, and probably Ola also. Earlier Aether is using something else. So and then you can cool these aluminum tubes to dissipate the heat. And second method is Lucid. In case of Lucid, the battery cells are kept on a metal plate, and in the metal plate you have this coolant pipe running, and they can cool the bottom of the plate, and through the overall conduction you can cool the battery cell. So these are two ways. The third way is what we are doing. We are put the cell inside the liquid itself and take liquid out, cool it, and bring it back again. This is
and
lighter, and yeah.
is there is there some inspiration because of which you decided to do it this way, or how did you discover that this is what you want to do,
Yes,
immersing
no,
it?
I heard about this tech being used in some other companies. There's a German company, I'm not sure German or not, but Mahle is one company from which I saw the image that this kind of thing is possible. Because we are thinking of cooling very, very seriously. Because in our case, the heat generated efficiency, even if it's 96%, the 2% is like runs into tens of kilowatts, and that's really bad for us. So thinking of cooling very seriously, and we figured this is one way. But of course, you can't beat someone else's patent, so we had to come up with our own structure of how do we do this. Like you can't ban the idea of a mobile phone. You can ban the idea of how you make it. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Okay. And so currently, you are still at prototype stage.
We are at the okay. So if you talk about the engineering cycles, You first have a concept, uh, you first have a vision that you convert into a concept, then you go to a prototype stage, then you start entering into the engineering phase. And engineering phase also, you'll have a T1 build, T2 build, T3 build, and mass production. So we are right now at a T1 build, where the prototype stage is done. We are now working with the aggregate manufacturers, getting their designs and incorporating in our design. And one model will soon be ready, probably in next couple of months. We'll hear about that in the media also. That's the first T1 build for us, where it is actually now designed with the engineering concepts, with proper simulations done. And as we move forward, more simulations happen, tells us your old design is bad, do some changes, and that cycle revision happens. So plan for us is very simple. We are going to design till April, and from April to end of the next year, we're going to do around 1 million kilometers of trials on the road. And in
Mm.
these trials, we're going to understand how good our battery device is, because trucks, as I said, 300 kilowatt hour of battery is massive. It can bring a building down. So before we send it to a consumer, we want to test it for 8 months, 9 months on the ground to make sure that everything is perfect, and then the device actually the product goes out.
Okay. Uh, how much funds have you raised for Tresa? Because this sounds like it would need a lot of capital.
We are extremely frugal, so I can't share on the Tresa side because there are other people also involved, and we're keeping the names and other things also integral, because there's a lot of OEM heating up in this particular space. Everyone tries to understand what the other person is doing. So I can't share that much, but I can tell you that we can hit
Are you
production next
invested
year.
by a financial investor or a strategic investor?
We are invested by strategic investors.
Okay, got it. Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. Indian or foreign?
Indian.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Uh, and so, what you're saying right now is that the prototype you made is all made through complete in-house design, every part of it, etc., etc. Now, if you need to go into production, so you need to now get, let's say, a headlight from a headlight manufacturing company, like all the auto ancillaries, who each of them have mass production of the various components. Like for a door, you will go to somebody; for a steering wheel, you'll go to somebody. So you will get those components, and then design the truck again in such a way that it is easier to mass manufacture, because you're using the components which are currently mass manufactured. That's the journey which you're currently doing.
Correct. Correct. So
Okay.
what happens in automotive is, if, or a mobile phone, for example, right? The glass is not made by Apple. The glass is made by, I forgot his name, that Gorilla company,
Gorilla,
Gorilla
yeah,
Glass. Yeah,
Corning, yeah.
Corning. Yeah, the camera sensor is not made by Apple, but it's made by Sony. So the same thing is in the automotive also. The steering wheel or the steering column is not made, but customized for us. Headlights are customized for us. What we are making in house is the motor controller, the battery pack, the battery cooling system, and the electrical system that we have, including a DC-DC and PDUs. But if I want to now use a processor for animation and graphics in the display, that will again come from, let's say, Continental or Infineon or someone similar. So those components we have to purchase.
Okay. And what is the audience for whom you're building this truck?
Yes. So if you think about it, a 300 kilowatt hour of truck, 50 kilowatt charger for a car is a fast charger. It's a slow charger for a truck, and the chargers are not available everywhere. So initially, the market is going to be B2B, where you have someone running a fleet where you're not buying one but 10 or 15 trucks, where the investment in the charging makes sense for him. And the reason he will invest is because if you take the energy from solar, then it comes to at around 1.5 or 2.5 rupee, compared to a grid which can go up to 11 rupee
2.5 rupee per kilometer
per
run, or
no, per unit of electricity
okay. What does it
per unit.
translate into your cost per kilometer?
18, 6 and 1.2 rupee. That's a correct for diesel, electricity from grid, and electricity from solar. Now, what happens in truck industry also, people don't buy trucks upfront. They're buying on loan, because that's what makes
Yes,
sense on a balance sheet. So you're
right.
going to pay a 10% deposit for a diesel truck or electric truck. Okay. Assuming electric trucks are double, that's the target for everyone. And so let's say the first 10% deposit for electric truck is 3.5 lakh, and for a electric truck is 7 lakh. That's the first hit that you have. You have to pay more there. Now comes the EMI, which for electric truck is going to be double than a diesel truck. But the cost of fuel accounts for 96% of the cost of running a diesel truck, not the cost of the truck.
Mm. Yeah,
Within two
yeah,
years, you break even. If you are
right.
using grid, if you use solar, then probably within a year. See, if you were to see our business slides or our presentations as well, the first thing we talk about is diesel trucks in India cause 60% of the pollution. The particle emission comes from diesel trucks. 38% carbon dioxide. 42% carbon nitroxide. The numbers are really bad, and they're just 3% of overall vehicle. 14,000 drivers died last year because cabins are also not safe. Are not safe. There's 40% attrition of drivers because the conditions are so bad. But environment changes so little every day that we are not concerned about environment at all, right? Unless the river floods your house or unless the tornado takes your house off, we are not concerned about Mother Earth today.
Unless you're
Tomorrow
living
we'll
in
be.
Delhi in the winters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the fact that the electric trucks are cheaper is the first thing that hits everyone, and that's why the movement is going to happen. Like kitna deti hai has always been the favorite question of the country, and
Yeah, yeah. I believe for the three-wheeler market, there's like a fairly significant percentage of electrification which has happened there. Like this
correct.
last mile delivery, what people use, that Tata Ace equivalent
Yes,
three-wheelers.
yes,
Because again, that total cost of ownership, that metric makes a lot of sense there.
correct. Now,
Mm.
we decided not to enter the LCV, what the Tata Ace is LCV, light commercial, because the Chinese have taken over that sector completely. The motors, the battery packs, the controllers, everything comes from China. You just assemble and sell. And that
Okay,
again
so all these
becomes the
like
Micromax.
Alti and a couple of
Not
others
Alti
like
Green,
Euler. Uh,
not Alti Green, because I don't have a lot of detail about them, but it seems like the motor is made by them in house. But I can't talk about other. I don't have enough information to claim
Comment.
something, so I
Okay.
yeah comment. But I know that at least for the Ace, the motors and other things are coming out for Electra also. But probably we can check the website.
So
So
you're
it goes like this. If you're not making the component in house, you're buying it from China, and there are not many OEMs, including the big ones. For example, Mahindra. If you see their ad campaign, it's called Born Electric for the electric vehicles that they're launching. So
the
you're born
passenger
electric
or
with
commercial?
DNA commercial. All the new XEVs that are electric coming from Mahindra. If
Okay.
you see the ad campaign, it's called Born Electric.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're
Okay.
born with someone else's DNA. So that's
Yeah.
how.
Yeah. 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 Right. Okay. Okay. So you're saying that there's, because everything is so easily available from China, so even the possibility of profit margin will be much lower there because
It's very low. Like if
you
you
don't have levers to charge more.
yeah, like if you see the proper commercial vehicle OEMs, their gross margins versus the passenger car sector, the commercial vehicles are at a higher gross margin because first there are few, only few can make it. You can't buy stuff from China and actually do it. It's very expensive there. China has failed in the petrol and diesel category, right? There is no car which has competed ever. MG is electric. So that's the turn which China also did at right time. They knew that they cannot beat Germans and Japanese in the motor technology, the engine technology. So like, why not invest in motor? And they've done really good. MG Motors and the Chinese company BYD, they have done phenomenal work in the battery technology and the motor technology. And Indians being always behind by a decade, we have not started that development yet. Hopefully, Amiraja, Excite, Tata, and Ola also probably will come start making battery cells by 26. But till then, we have to survive on imports. And again, the way the FAME policy also works is that we are giving FAME policy to OEM like me. I'll get the FAME policy, so I can go to China and pick something. That doesn't solve the problem. The problem is that the OEMs cannot buy products in India. So you should give the same policy to the component supplier, the guy who's ready to make the motor or the pack or the BMS or the motor controller or the headlight or the steering wheel, electric steering wheel or the e-compressors. All of that money should be given to the guys who are making it, not to the
But
OEM.
the FAME policy, for listeners who don't know, is a government policy for encouraging localization, like, and
Correct.
specifically in the electric vehicle space.
Correct. Correct.
That if you're selling an electric vehicle with a certain percentage of local components, then there is a subsidy.
Yeah, and Indians are the smartest human in the
So
world
you're saying
from
that people are able
perspective.
to manipulate and show that they are meeting that
Exactly.
percentage number without
Yeah.
actually meeting it.
See, because you can question everything, right? Because you can't write down the assembly process. So if I tell you the motor is made in India, means I have taken the rotor and the stator and connected them together in India. That's the definition of manufacturing. The stator and rotor can be made in China.
Right, right, right. Okay, got it. So assembled in India versus made in India, that
Yes.
differentiation is like a gray
Yes.
line. Okay, interesting,
Having
interesting.
said that, there are a lot of companies which are doing grounds of work of making in India, but The scale is not there because scale is with the OEM who's selling more, who's buying from China.
Okay, okay. And the components that you are using, they're all going to be made in India. Battery pack, of course, you will need to import. You said 2026 is when India will have
Battery
capacity.
cell, battery
Battery cell.
cell.
Hmm.
Yeah, battery cell we are probably going to take from Korea. We have the
Okay,
top three there: LG, Panasonic, and Samsung. So we are,
okay.
because India China chemistry is also, we're not sure what may happen. So we are sort of not dependent on them. All the other components we don't want from China. So we are not making that truck which is going to be cheaper than other trucks. Our trucks are going to be more expensive than the competition, and that's how we want to play it. So the cost is not a factor for us because my trucks are going to give you the best mileage possible. So first, entry barrier is high, but every month you're going to spend so less that you're not going to go out. That's the overall play that we are playing at.
Yeah, so you're building like the Mercedes Benz of trucks,
Correct.
basically. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Amazing.
See that,
And I mean, you're already at 90% efficiency, which is like you're saying one and a half times what other people are at.
yeah. So this 90% is also, again every data at this stage should be taken with a pinch of salt. This
Okay,
90%
it's
with
at
our
prototype
tests in
level,
a, yes.
right?
So now and that's where the April to December next year is very very important. We
Hmm.
on the ground with the load in Delhi temperature, in Surat temperature, in Cherrapunji with a lot of rain. Then we have to see with the traffic, the number of times you press brakes. All of that data has to come in and tell us that okay, this is the exact number.
Okay, okay, okay. Got it. Interesting, interesting, amazing. So, is this it, or a decade from now, will you be on your fourth startup?
Oh no! So this is it. So right now I have Notion Inc., which I will restart one day. Then we have Incas, which will continue, and Tresa. Yeah. So these are the three things. And fourth will be probably a School of AI. So I also teach on Sundays. I've taught more than 4,000 students till now. These are classes that used to happen at 6:30 a.m. Now I've changed the time to 9 a.m. And I teach them convolution neural networks. So, for example, the last assignment was on the reinforcement learning. Before that, we covered GPT-4. The next assignment is on reinforcement learning for human feedback for ChatGPT. So, uh, School of AI is like the you can say my way of uh, uh,
Giving
slowing
back.
down every Saturday. Yeah. And giving back also, and making sure that I can remain at the edge of AI because it's moving so fast that unless you're teaching, then and
Oh
the
yeah,
best way to
I
learn is to
completely
teach.
agree. Absolutely, the best way to learn is teach. Absolutely, yeah, because you have to be prepared for every question, and students will
Every
ask you
question.
questions. You, yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I also tell my students that unless you ask a stupid question, you remain stupid. You have to ask everything.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Are you doing this as a for profit or what for School of AI? What's the goal there?
It's somewhere between non-profit and for-profit because earlier, first couple of years, I did without taking any money. And when I did that, then students will come like a bhajan. Because I
वो
teach well,
skin
they
in the
sit.
game नहीं है ना, हाँ, commitment
Uh,
नहीं है, बिल्कुल, हाँ.
yeah, but because now they have to pay a bit, which is probably 1/20th of anyone like a triple IT or IT would charge. That amount of money is still like we all are Indian, right? Any money going out is some money going out.
Hmm.
So then you are addicted and you are committed basically. That commitment I want. That's why the charges are very low.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. So I want to do like a this or that kind of a rapid fire kind of a thing.
Okay.
I'll give you two
Okay.
choices. You tell me which one you prefer and why.
Okay.
And this is the first time I'm doing this. This is an experiment. The last
Okay.
podcast I recorded, my guest told me add a fun element in it. So this is my attempt at adding a fun element. Okay. Um, a million customers or $1 billion?
Million customers.
Why?
Yeah, because seeing your product in hands of people changing lives builds a value where billion can be a trillion in future.
Hmm. Okay. Friday.
A million customers is a big validation.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Friday or Monday?
Monday.
Why?
I look forward to be in office and
Back to
do
work.
the next
Okay.
big thing. Back to work.
Uh,
Yes.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. Experience or energy? And this could be in terms of people you hire or the team you build or.
Energy.
Okay. And because you've worked with interns right from Notion days, and so you have a lot of faith in the power of youth.
Yeah, in last 14 years, I would have hired more than 300 plus interns. And if you see any of those interns, like if you go on LinkedIn and check what those interns are doing, they are in best of the companies: Samsung, Google, Disney, and DreamWorks. And also on top of it, the Indian ecosystem right now with experience is not there at the state of art. And teaching a learned person is very difficult. So it's not that we don't need experienced people for manufacturing, for assembly, for plant layout, for all optimization. We need a lot of experienced people. But even there, we look for energy. Are you ready to learn something new? If I hire a
Mm,
sourcing manager, for example, from let's say Ashok Leyland today, the guy would not have done anything on the electric side, right? He would have
right.
only bought tires and other stuff, mechanical stuff, engine. But now we are looking at 400 other components which are electric. Are you ready to learn about them and work with a team which is not as experienced as you, and still say that yes, you are interested?
Mm. Okay. Economic Times or Times of India? Where would you like to get featured?
Economic Times, any given day. Oh,
Why?
featured. Like even if I had
Yeah.
to
Where
read,
would
it's going to be
no no? Where would you like to
economic,
get featured? Where would you like to see your
economic
photo?
times.
Why?
Economic Times. Times of India, I used to read, I think, 15 years ago, but after that, it's all.
No, I mean, think of the readership, right? If you're featured on Times of India, it is like mass market, like
No,
like
so
your
okay. So
neighborhood auntie will also see you, and the whereas Economic Times will be a much narrower niche market who will see your photo.
no, more than being popular, I want those people to know me who can learn from me and who I can learn from. Like just being popular doesn't solve any purpose at all. And that has happened in notioning days. If I go to the airports, people will recognize me, and that's not a really good situation to be in.
Interesting, interesting. Okay, interesting. Email or WhatsApp,
WhatsApp.
and why is that? Like more immediate.
It's not on the immediate side because I also tell everyone that because you have sent me a message, don't expect I'm going to respond immediately. But it's just the way it organizes. In fact, like you asked me my fourth startup, if I had some time left, I would actually try and rearrange the mails also, right? For example, if we both are interacting in last 1 year, we would have made thousands of different titles for the email. I will not be able to
Yeah.
link anything at all. But at least on WhatsApp, you have this concept of groups and person one-to-one interaction, and
Mm,
we can do a much better communication. And more than WhatsApp
right.
is actually Telegram because I can send bigger files and
Okay. Okay. The organization is easier to do in that.
easier.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting. Okay. Cool. One last question. So, what advice do you have for young aspiring founders?
Yeah. So it's the same thing. Like if you're trying to look for something is inside you, your inspiration. If your inspiration going to come from somewhere else, then you probably shouldn't do it. You
Mm,
have everything inside you need forever. You will whatever you will need. So just start. Like don't wait.
mm. Amazing.
And
Amazing.
there's one more line which I use on my WhatsApp, which is how you do something is how you do everything. And meaning of that is very simple. If you are untidy at your house, you're going to be untidy in your business. If you don't take care of your plants, you're not going to take care of your kids or employees. So what you do, how you do anything is how you will end up doing everything.
Oh yeah, amazing. There's this very famous story about Steve Jobs, right? Like he cared about how the insides of the Macintosh looked. Which
Yeah,
nobody
yeah,
would actually open a Macintosh and see what it looked like from inside, but he cared about that
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah, amazing,